Hello everyone and welcome to the Sinar Daily Sport Matters podcast series with me, your host Adila Jesam. The Sport Matter podcast is a space where we discuss issues related to sport both in front and behind the scene. In today's episode of the SEA Games coverage, we will talk about nurturing sport from young. But first, who wants to win RM200 worth of Al Ehsan shopping vouchers? This brought to you by our telco partner Red One. All you have to do is save our 3 keywords of this episode and drop all 3 keywords at our media social page. I will be mentioning the keyword throughout the program and make sure you guys stay with me till the end of the show. So today with me, we have 2 special guests in the studio today with me we have 2 special. Let's welcome Kevin Zahri, Kayla.
Hi.
Hi guys.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. How are you, Kevin?
I'm very good, thank you.
Yeah, this is the first time I meet you in person, and also you have. I think. I don't know, I'm so nervous because this is like two important person.
No.
It's like a role model for everybody, especially parents and young person like you. Okay, so although I'm sure no introduction needed because you guys are popular. So why don't you introduce yourself? Maybe take turn.
Yeah, maybe Mikaela, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Mikaela. I am 10 years old, and my hobby is tennis. Your turn.
Yeah, I am Kevin. Obviously I am her father. I'm more known in the fitness realm in Malaysia, especially when it comes to kuruskan our beloved country and nation. But here today, sports, which is really important, not just for creating Malaysian athletes, but also to address the rising rate of obesity among children.
Yes.
And the inactivity that a lot of kids in this country and globally are facing today.
Thank you, everybody. So today we have a unique topic, which is nurturing sport from young. But before we start, actually, guys, we are at 32nd SEA Games Cambodia. So most of is now fighting medal for our nation. So why don't we look at the medal tally by the national contingent as of this morning? So we are right now at total medal 82 with 21 gold, 22 silver and 39 bronze. I think we are at 7th place overall, so hopefully they can be on the top 5 and then climb up to the top 3 and be a champion of the Southeast Asian. So here are some updates that's happened this week. Yesterday on May 10, the Malaysian contingent accepted the jury's final decision regarding gold medal controversy involving national thrower Jackie Wong. So there is they suspect there has been a little bit of misjudge on his event, and then they had to launch 2 protests from Wong himself and a written from the team manager, but both were rejected by the organisers. Next, Izul Irfan Marzuki delivered the national silat team's 3rd gold medal yesterday by winning the men's Indonesia. Earlier, No Shakira Musin and No Farah Mazlan had won gold medal for Malaysia in the same event as well. World Wushu champion Tan Chong Min glided through her performance effortlessly to amass 9.626 points, winning the gold medal yesterday. And on Wednesday, May 9th, the Academic Badminton Malaysia ABM announced the resignation of its CEO, Michelle Chai. This comes after Malaysia suffered a team's event on the Monday at Phnom Penh SEA Games. They also confirmed his duties with immediate effect. And lastly, national petang player Saiful Bahari Musmin made a victorious return to the SEA Games competition, bagging the gold medal. Alright, here are just some of the updates from the Malaysian contingent. For more updates, make sure to visit www.sinardaily.my. Alright guys, let's talk about nurturing sports since young. Kevin, your name has been, mentioned in the fitness and nutrition field, and you also help a lot of people in reaching on their goals in fitness, and also you do personal coaching. So the question is, how do you track everything ongoing, and then at the same time you take care of your physical health?
My physical health?
Yes.
My physical health is my maruah diri, which I always call, is part of the job. I'm actually a mechanical engineer by profession, and fitness and sports has always been something that's been with me for life since I was very young, even in Germany where I grew up. And I never wanted to become a fitness influencer, icon, or trainer, or coach like I am now. It started really indirectly when I was younger, and it started as a passion to help others, and then the joy of seeing people. And it's been a very easy and blessed journey for me personally. But now I have another job, which is to nurture. And, as you know, managing a high performance athlete who is competitive with the training and the competitions. I was complaining to my friends and my family, it's like having a second job. So now I have two jobs. I have my own job, and then I have this job, which I really love as well, but I didn't expect it to take as much time from my schedule as it does, but it's really enjoyable as well if you see the progress and the development over time.
All right, okay, that's very good information to know about you. So what was your first sport during childhood, and what is your favorite sport until now?
I grew up playing table tennis. So I was a competitive table tennis player in Germany. I played in the Northern German under 12 category. I played together, or I grew up together with Timo Boll. Timo Boll, if the viewers know at home, Timo Boll is German world tennis champion, used to be ranked number 1 in the world, and is still playing today. So I grew up competing against him. He was better than me at that age already. But I grew up playing competitive table tennis at a club level in Germany, then came to Malaysia. I was a state player, table tennis as well. So I grew up playing table tennis.
Oh, all right. So who encouraged you at the first time?
I was naturally really into sports since I was young. I was always very active. If in school in Germany, there was, how you have this, like in school, you have to choose teams, and the team captains have to choose their players. I was always the first to be chosen to join any team because I was really gifted athletically. I was really well in terms of motor skills, coordination, speed, and very confident. So I was always very active. And my brother, who's older, he chose table tennis. And I was about 6 years old. I wasn't old enough to make my own decision, so I had to join his choice, table tennis. But I wished, looking back at my life, I wished I would have, or he would have chosen a football academy instead of table tennis, because
Okay, let's move to the next question. When you was in German, right? How do you think, how strong was the youth community, like youth sport community in Germany?
it's a very good question, and I do a lot of work here with the Ministry of Education, KPM, and even Ministry of Youth and Sports, KBS, to try and help or the Europeans do really well, where they're focused and centered around communities. Whereas in Malaysia, we have various components, but they are quite disjointed. So you have the schools, you have the clubs, and you have MSN, and you have MSSN, and then you have other competitions. So it's very a bit chaotic from my point of view. So in Germany, it was very easy. No matter what sport you choose, you are part of one hierarchy that supports the very best of the country to the very bottom of the people who are just entering the ecosystem. So if you are a grassroots player, no matter how old you are, immediately you are part of this ecosystem which will self-support each other depending on how good or not you are. In Malaysia, for example, podium, you are there, but there's not multiple levels beneath that podium that supports the athletes. So that's where people get discouraged and then tend to perhaps not continue the journey. And as a country, we rugi lah because tak ramai yang bersukan.
So talk about your fitness journey and your personal coaching and diets, nutrition or exercise. How long you been in that field actually? And when exactly you started?
I have been in fitness since I opened my eyes, since I was small. I mean, one way or another, we all are in fitness. I'm in fitness, you're in fitness, she's in fitness. People who are viewing are in fitness too, but in our own capacity. Serious? But whether we like it or not, we are all responsible for our own fitness and well-being and nutrition and all. So what we always teach in our programs is to empower the individual to take ownership and make it something that is sustainable. Because if you focus on it to become just a short-term crash course, then you won't go very far.
All right, that's a good sharing about Kevin Zahri. So let's move to the main player of the day is Rio Mikaela. Can I call you Mika or you have another name?
You can call me Mika.
Mika. Okay, Mika, just a simple question. When do you start this sport and why?
Well, I tried it out when I was 3 years old and I didn't like it. And then at our house, we started trying it again. I was 7 and I went to my first academy when I was 8 years old at Duta, and I started to like it and I played and I wanted to be more professional, and then here I am now.
All right. So what's the essence that makes you fall in love in tennis?
I don't know, it's like I just love doing sports and it just feel like a connection, so I just chose tennis.
All right, that's a great answer for the young talents here. I also like interviewing her. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Okay, as a parent of two, Kevin, both of your kids do sports, right?
Yep.
So how did everything get started? Like Mikaela start with tennis.
Yep.
And then the other one, I think with football, right?
Yeah, both started with tennis. It's not easy to force a child to go into a sport. You can force the child, but when it comes to nurturing them, if they don't enjoy it, then they don't want to do it again and again and again. So it's really important in the beginning to just make it fun. And make it interesting so that they fall in love with the sport, and as a parent to sort of see which child enjoys which activity. We tried tennis as well, but he didn't like continued repetition and instructions, which was very technical, and the drills. So he was more inclined to fun sports like football, where there is a lot of action and you throw a ball and you play with friends. So he was more of a team sport type of individual. So we transitioned him from no more tennis to just football. And he's not as competitive in nature compared to because every child is different naturally. So her natural inclination is to be competitive, to focus. She's highly motivated, wants to work hard, enjoys competition, enjoys winning, enjoys losing to a point as well, because it comes as a package deal. So as a parent, you have to nurture and identify the subject that you are working with, your child, and then figure out a way to nurture and guide them to a place that benefits both. But it's really important for a parent to understand that you are a parent, you are not a coach. If you combine being a coach with being, you risk a relationship, which we encountered very early in our time of tennis, that it doesn't work for me to coach her, even fitness, because they just don't listen to what the daddy says, they listen to what the coach says, and when they look at your face, they don't see the face of a coach, they see the face of a father
Yes.
or a mother. So my advice to parents out there, if you have talented and highly ambitious athletes who are competing in the sports that they play in, be a supporter, be a parent, be a manager, but try not to coach them, because the risks don't outweigh the rewards. And most importantly, you want to become a support mechanism for the child.
All right. So, Mikaela, as your father said that you are really performance, how do you juggle everything? And then you say you start since 7, right? So
Yeah.
how you juggle school, training, and your normal activities as a kid?
Well, I have training like 1 hour a day, and my school is normally in the mornings or in the afternoons. So I try to make my tennis training in between, so I can do my school and my tennis. And in the evening, I do my fun activities. Like I go downstairs, I play with my friends, go swimming. I love doing my.
So do you think, is that enough for you to train tennis only 1 hour per day, or you need more?
Well, from now I do 1 hour per day, sometimes 2.
Sometimes camps that we go to from time to time. So on average, she would probably play hours. On weekends, sometimes it's 4 hours. So in a week, it's about 10 hours a week. But there are weeks when we go for training camps that become 20 hours a week. But it's important again to nurture a young talent, to not overdo the training, to try and rush the process, to allow them to be kids, to allow them to be a 10-year-old child, to have friends, to have sleepovers, to go swimming, to just be a young girl. I've seen a lot of parents, they're too hard on their kids from a young age, and the child don't smile, they're not happy, and they become very serious, and they cry a lot, and it's because it's too much pressure. So it's really important to balance both as a parent and as a child, to allow them to be as competitive and as ambitious as can be, but to trust the process and give them time.
All right, guys, that's a good share for the first. I'm gonna take 5 and let me breathe.
Why are you nervous?
With these two amazing people with me in the studio. So take 5. We're gonna see you guys after this. Stay tuned.
Back to basics. Rewind. Back to basics. Rewind. Back to basics. Rewind. Back to basics.
I mention the first keyword for today, I want to say congratulations to Zaidi for won the first competition for the previous episode. So if you guys wants to win 200 of Al Ehsan shopping voucher, you need to collect the 3 keywords for this episode and leave your comments at Sinar Daily social media. This brought to you by our telco partner Red One. So the first keyword for today is youth. Okay, youth, and make sure you get it right and put it in order. So this is the first keyword, youth. All right, let's go back in with these two amazing people. Okay, I want to ask Mikaela, do you follow any like specific diets or nutrition, or your dad do for you?
Diets, I just eat how much as I want to eat. Well, there's no stopping for me to eat, or there is or not.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to get them to eat. So, the kids generally don't eat what you want them to eat, and they don't eat the amount that you want them to eat, and their palate is very nutrition. They don't listen to what I say. But we educate them on macronutrients, like what is protein, what are carbohydrates, so they understand the basics, understand hydration, understand the importance of sugar when they compete, so that it's not just water, but with glucose and electrolytes. So I educate them at a very fundamental level, so that as they get along the journey, that they know more and more. But if they don't eat the quote-unquote enough food from their daily meals, we then use what we call growing, to sort of help her to get enough nutrition if she cannot get it from the regular foods.
Okay, so as for yourself, do you have like specific diets or nutrition?
No.
So you just
Blasa.
kind of eat. So for you, Mikaela, are you allowed to eat junk food?
Yeah, I am.
So what kind of junk food is your favorite?
I like to eat goldfish.
Oh yeah, the small.
I like to eat
That's
those a lot.
delicious. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next question. Okay, Kevin. I want to know what's the best advice for parents out there to nurturing sports since young, and for you, who plays the biggest role in this circle?
The parents, for sure. In the beginning, kids, they have desires, but it's the parents who have to notice and nurture that desire, or lack of desire. If there is a lack of desire, then it's the parents' job to sort of get the ball rolling, but by making it fun and interesting and diverse. Don't force the child to play perhaps one sport, but try out a few different sports and see which ones the child enjoy. If the child has already a interest like football or tennis, and to try and nurture and groom that talent, or from day one. Some, especially in Europe, when we were in Europe, there were parents who told me, my child has zero talent. They were very honest. This is high-level competitions in Europe, and the parents tell me, my child has no talent. It's important to recognize that your child has no talent, but the child might be hardworking, because hard work always beats talent. So if the child is not talented but willing to work hard, focus on that. If the child is talented but agak lazy, then it's a different type of dynamics that you have to work with. So as a parent, in our journey, which is quite new, old, you learn so much as a parent, what you can and cannot do, what works for them and what doesn't, what makes them happy, what doesn't, or what makes them feel overwhelmed and what doesn't. So it's a continuous journey, but it's not just about me as a parent, it's not just about her as an athlete. We always talk about it as a team effort. As much as tennis is an individual sport, we do things as a team. We go together, drive you there, manage schedules, manage this, manage that. So when it comes to performing on the court, it's not just about her, it's about a team. Although it's an individual sport.
Yeah, that's great to share because this is remind me of support by my mother. So she on the bike, and you know the bike isn't expensive, isn't cheap, it's expensive.
Yeah. When it comes to the money part, and any sport is not cheap.
Yes.
It's the burden of the parents to sort of take it and absorb it. You don't want to push all that pressure to them. It's not their fault the bike is expensive. It's not their fault the tennis is expensive. It's for us to find a balance as a manager or a parent to see what's affordable, what we can and cannot do, because I would not advise people out there to spend all their savings to buy one bike in the hope that she becomes the next Azizul Awang or Adila J-Sam Kerapa. Is too much pressure for a child. And even in her journey as a tennis player, she wants to be Iga Swiatek, Rafael Nadal. But in our journey of tennis, that's the ultimate goal. There has to be success. It cannot just be about you becoming a world star. It can be about many, many, many things. Like we travel the world, Thailand, Bosnia, Germany, Europe, Spain. Even that itself is such an amazing experience, no matter what happens in the tennis career, just to go through that journey, to give it a shot. That itself has to be successful. It cannot just be about becoming a world star.
Yeah. Okay, for you, Mikaela, can you share like your recent achievement, like your recent games, and you must be somewhere like in maybe top 3, top 5. Can you share what is your achievement?
From this year?
You can share everything.
Well, I remember there was one time I won a tournament, my first tournament I won in Negeri Sembilan. That was the first tournament I got for 3rd place, and then last year, October, I got the 2nd place in the LTAM, and then this year I also got 1st place for the LTAM, and I won a lot of tournaments this year for under 10.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
So, do you join like any sort of like training camp on a certain season?
I didn't do training camps, but I do. In Mallorca, we went to 10 Pro, and we found a lot of different good players and different countries. So we went to Bosnia because we saw one nice good player from Bosnia, and we went there and we did a training there, and it was, for my opinion, it was the best training.
Yeah, Mikaela, right now she's the number 1 ranked under 10 player in Malaysia. Defeated for this entire year. We went to the Rafael Nadal Academy in Spain last year and this year for competition and training. She plays club tennis for a club called Puerto Cristo Tennis Club in Mallorca, Spain, in the league where she also was undefeated. We went to Bosnia recently for a 1-month-long training camp in March during Ramadan and just before Hari Raya, for 20 hours a week training camp with one of the best coaches and players under her. So the reason to all of these things is to test the level as early as possible. They always ask me, Kevin, why do you go to Europe so early? And the reason being is that we want to make sure Because if you win a tournament in Malaysia or Thailand, you don't really know what's the level like in Europe.
Yes.
When it comes to tennis, it's either Europe, Australia, or maybe the US. But Europe is more interesting lah, because there's lots of different diversity. So we go to Europe, not to say that we are A, B, or C, but to check, is her level tennis, is it near the top of the European under 10s, or is it far away? If it's close by, then at least, okay, we know, then we can train, and you're 14, 15 years old, and then only you go to Europe, and you realize, oh my God, the gap is so big, then you feel like it's not possible.
Yes.
So we went to Europe last year, and we can see that the gap is maybe, if I give you an example of a car has 5 gears, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would say in the picture of world tennis, Mikaela's level is level 4. There are a handful of players at level 5 whom we know very well from competing in Europe. It's always the same girls that do really well, so it gives us a target. We are level 4, level 5 is not too far, but you have to work hard. Because if you don't work hard, that level and that gap starts to grow more and more to a point where you feel it's too far. And Malaysians, my experience, coming from Germany, competing, Malaysians have an inferiority complex when it comes to competing outside the country, especially Europe, US, Australia. Many Malaysians have this feeling that they're not good enough to compete with the best of the best. So we wanna expose her within reason. You don't want to throw your protege in an ocean of sharks and then you get demotivated and demoralized. Tak nak as well. So we throw her in an ocean of similar fish where she can compete, but then she realize, hey, I can compete with the other girls. I can do this from a younger age. So the psychology and the mental capacity is really important, so that when you step into the gelanggang, you step into the court, that you feel that you are worthy to be there, you belong within these people, and you can compete. Because if you don't believe it here, no matter what the record does, it's very difficult.
Yeah, so talking about her periodization, like the whole year, annually, like who planned the game? Is it you choose or the coach?
We don't have a set coach, we have coaches. We have coaches in Malaysia, we have coaches in Bosnia, and get to know with on a personal level, that we talk to even on Zoom calls with Bosnian coaches or Spanish coaches, just to catch up and talk about things. But I am the one that pulls the strings. I am the manager. So my job is to convey messages from academy to academy, what we're working on, what she needs to fix, what she's good at, how is she perform. So if she plays a tournament and she wins, I have to ask, why did she win, why did she lose, so that the coaches are aware of what's happening in the training versus in match. Because as you know, as an athlete, in training performance and on-court performance are two very different things. And you can become a champion on the training court, but once the actual match happens and you are not right here, the level, that's what we encountered that when she first went to Europe. And she had this, alamak, I am going to play against this girl from Uzbekistan, Russia, Kazakhstan, and Poland, and Germany, and France. It's scary. You imagine a small girl coming into the court. They're all small girls, but she's from Malaysia, very far away. And when it comes to tennis, we all look up to the, especially Eastern European nations. So it takes a lot of matches early on because she's afraid. One girl, very, very good girl from Bosnia, Amaila, and I thought was level 5. She won tournaments. She's like, really up there. And my job is to make friends with her father, then network with her dad, who happened to be her coach as well, so that we can go to their academy and train with them, see what they do, learn from them, and also for her to play with the best of the best, in this case in Bosnia, compete, so that she feels, I can do this. I can play with them in training. They are just as human as I am, so that psychologically you start to overcome this insecurity as an athlete and feel that you belong. Once you feel you belong, then I think the first obstacle of becoming a competitive athlete is out of the way.
All right, that's good sharing already. So for sure she's gonna win more after this. So
We don't know. We don't know.
let's wish for that.
We don't know. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
But you have to enjoy.
You have to be comfortable to be uncomfortable.
You have to be
Yes.
comfortable to be uncomfortable.
Winning mentality.
Yeah, so that's how you then grow and evolve. And that's why we go
Yes.
to, say, Europe or other countries, because in Malaysia, and it's the same thing in any country, if you always play this one, whether it's cycling, it's always the same people, it's the same girls, same guys, same people, you know each other, it's very comfortable. So it's important to go to a different country where you don't know anyone, to be uncomfortable, different language, different culture, so that you expand your horizon and you then evolve, and then you break through barriers to become more experienced and be comfortable to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, true. So far you're planning everything for your kids and especially you. So in your involvement in this sport, have you like received any response or feedbacks from other people about her performance, and then do you get like any backlash?
Backlash. No, we get a lot of support from Lembaga Lawn Tennis Association Malaysia, LTAM. We are very national bodies, the state coaches. We are here to promote sports for Malaysians. We are here to promote tennis for young girls as well. So it's a lot of support. We are not threatening anyone. But the funny thing is this: when she went to Spain last year for about 3 months training camp for the first time, and we came back, and everybody knew when we went to Rafa Nadal Academy and all, there's this perception in people's head like she must be superstar now. Because you go for training camp for 1 month here or there, does not mean you come back as. We had a match in the national circuit here, and she played a local player in the, I don't know, semi-finals or what. They had this thing, Spain versus Malaysia. You know, because again, it's stigma, perception orang, and you can see that a lot of the supporters were supporting the Malaysian, both are Malaysian.
Yeah, both are
but
Malaysian.
in this case, you know, this is the girl who went to Spain, and then this is the girl who trains locally. So there was this subtle way of the audience supporting the local groom player, which I don't mind. It's kind of funny, but in a way it's to prove that you don't have to go to Spain to be a great player. But at the end of the day, Mikaela won the match as well. But yeah, you will get that kind of feedback from time to time. I don't take it negatively. I think it's funny. And for me, best player. Whether you train in Mallorca, in Bosnia, in Australia, or Germany. Training is better than the other. At the end of the day, it's the player versus player that wins. There will be a day where she wins. There will be a day where they win. It doesn't matter.
Yes, true. Okay, Mikaela, I bet everyone wants to know, at this age you are very young, and you also compete in most of the games right now, right?
Yes.
At the moment. So I want to know, can you share with me how you handle your emotion, like pre-games, during games, and who comforts you?
Well, I'm not emotional when I play a match. Cause like if you be emotional, like if you're mad, if you're sad, you cry, and like I don't do that. I've done that once in Europe, but it doesn't matter if you're emotional or not. It doesn't make a difference. So I try not to be emotional in a match. I just
It's like you what thinking, right?
This is the German blood, maybe a little bit. That there's no emotions, which is important when you compete, because emotions get in the way of your own ability, and number two, it communicates to your opponent that you don't have it together. So having positive body language to hide your fear. I can tell you, she is takut when she enters the court. Just like everybody is nervous when they enter, even Rafa Nadal, when they enter Roland Garros, whatever, there is nerves. Nerves means you care. If you have no feeling at all, it means you don't care. Lah. So at the end of the day, it's not easy for her to deal with the emotions sometimes, and sometimes she becomes her worst enemy, not by crying, but just not letting go of everything she has. She keeps it hidden before, but now she does a really, really good job of just letting it go. And that comes with experience. So if there are parents watching this right now, whatever sport they play, if you see your child not performing in a match, but do well in training, it's because they are not yet experienced to really let things go. My advice is don't pressure them, don't push them too much, exposure, so that they feel more relaxed to then eventually break free.
Yeah. All right, before we take the second break, this is your second keyword, tennis. So if you guys wants to win 200 ringgit voucher from Al Ihsan, please remember the second keyword, tennis. The first one, youth, and the second, tennis. We're going to take a break and see you guys after this.
Back to basics. Rewind. Back to basics. Rewind. Back to basics. Rewind. Back to basics.
Alright, hi guys, we are back again with Kevin Zahri and Rio Mikaela today in the studio. Actually, we still have few more questions and issues to discuss. I want to ask Mikaela first for this part. Okay, Mikaela, just now we're talking about your emotion. Do you have like any certain ritual that you do before you start your game?
No, but I just warm up before my games. I skip, and I don't do like a ritual. I just do my warm. And I play, I warm up, and I start my match.
So did anyone train you for the mental health? I mean, like for the mental training for you to psycho yourself, psycho the opponent. Do you have that kind of training as well?
No.
Yeah.
What? Which
Yeah.
one?
But see, the words that you would use is not something that registers with her yet. But she speaks to a counselor, which is like a psychologist, to help her deal with emotions. And now, the reason why we engage a counselor, it's not because she has issues, but she needs someone to speak to that she feels safe. Family will judge, but a professional counselor is a safe few months just to check whether she's happy, whether she enjoys the process, and that counselor gives her also a breathing exercises pre-match to, for example, deal with the anxiety and the nervous feelings of entering a match. She has a coach in Bosnia as well who does visualization exercises.
Yes.
So when you sit together, close your eyes, and you visualize the match before it happens to see serve, return, rally, tactical. So indirectly, I mean, those are mental exercises, but in her mind, it's just an exercise. She doesn't think of it as something that is mental or that psychological in nature, which is a very grown-up thing to think about.
Yeah, because in sports science we have kind of a lot of topic regarding mental training. Even the brainwave also relates, because if you say negative, the more high your brainwave will be. So you are what you're saying. So say the positive words whenever you start anything you want to do for the day. So guys, actually our retail partner Aeon Big together with Sinar Daily have a competition for you guys. It's called Malaysian Heroes Favorite. So all you have to do is listen to today's guest's favorite diet plan or nutrition meal. So later you guys can tell what is your maybe favorite fruit, favorite food, favorite ice cream, or whatever you want to say, whatever you want to share.
Keyword ice cream. Yeah.
Shop at Aeon Big and create the most creative way, like photos, reels or video, and your social media account must be set on public. And then don't forget to tag Sina Daily and MY and hashtag Aeon Big. So let's ask this.
What's the price? What's the price?
The price. What's the price, guys? Oh, the price is the voucher, so you can shop at Aeon Big as much as you want, maybe. So let's hear from these two. What is their favorite?
You go lah, Mikaela?
My favorite fruits?
Maybe you mentioned five things.
Yeah,
five things that they can find at the supermarket that is part of your quote-unquote diet.
Strawberries.
Strawberries,
Banana.
banana,
Cookies.
cookies, any kind? Anything specific?
Any brand?
Goldfish.
Goldfish. So strawberries, banana, goldfish. Two more.
Carrots.
Carrots
And bread.
and
Bread.
bread. Okay, good.
I think sort of everything
Okay.
except protein.
Okay.
How about you?
So I'll do protein lah.
The masters.
Salmon, chicken breast, carrot, Haagen-Dazs ice cream,
Yes.
and Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah. The last two is for your mood. Just to boost your mood. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, you sort of plan everything for her.
Yeah.
And this question is quite important for me to ask because I feel it too before this, because I started at 15, quite late for my
Quite
sport.
late, yeah.
Quite late. And then in that phase, I was too raging with my hormones.
Yes.
So everything like fight with your parents, right? And then sometimes if I say I don't want to compete, I don't want to compete. So how do you handle them, like balancing their moods? And have school. So how you balance and make sure they have a formal education.
There's a lot of questions in your question.
Yeah, because
I'll talk about the first one first. She's 10 years old. She's not yet dealing with puberty and the teenage rage. Yes, but we talk about it a lot already because we have friends and peer players who are 13, 14, who struggle with their parents, who become very rude, who become very disrespectful. And this is most of the time, it's when the father or the mother is the coach of the child. And that's when usually things fall apart. We have a very, very good coach in Spain, Coach Pep. He had a very high-performing daughter in tennis, but when she became a teenager, he said it was a disaster. It just fell apart because he was coaching her. So we are very much talking to each other now already to not become like that. For me to stay out of the coaching and just be the dad and be the manager per se, and let the coachings be done by somebody else, and to make sure she's happy. That's the most important thing. And right now she loves the tennis more than I love the tennis, maybe, which is a really, really good thing. The problem is when the parents love it more than the child, and that's when the balance becomes more of a push and pull thing. So than anyone, she eats, breathes. Yes, almost every day, YouTube la, whatnot la, this on TV and all. She's really into it because again, the hard work combines with competition, and combines with success, combines with traveling, combines with friends. So that balance is really important to have. So make sure she's smiling. Smile. Yeah, so smiling child, athlete is really, really important for me. But we have to be prepared and we have to be wary about the fact that she will enter puberty at some point, and then hormones will come and go. And we hope that it will not ruin our relationship, most importantly, and then we can continue the journey of tennis together. Not easy, for sure.
It's not easy. So how about the second question? How do you manage them? I mean, like the school time and the competition time, and let's say yesterday is a game time, tomorrow is a school time.
You cannot have it all. You cannot have it all. So for us, the tennis, in this case, is number one. The school is number two. This is just how we do it right now, based on our balance. She's homeschooled anyways. She's a very, very smart girl. I would say she's ahead in terms of learning compared to her peers. And so not to worry about her education. The education for me is really only important. My advice, the education is really only important maybe the last 2 years before university. Everything else right now is there, but what's really important is the last 2 years before, let's say, SPM, because that will determine what your next step is. So by the time she's 15, if tennis is not really happening, perhaps the priority will shift to education instead. But we are not that desperate for her to excel in everything right now. We choose tennis as the main pursuit, which makes her happy. But this is again where the counselor comes in, and the counselor will ask her, are you happy with the current tennis travel school arrangement or not? And not just for her brother as well, because he has to tag along. He has to come with us to travel here and there. So we have to constantly ask them via a neutral party to make sure that they are okay with the arrangement, or if they want to go back to school or not. Because if she wants to go back to school, I have to respect her wishes, but I have to then tell her it's gonna impact your tennis, because you cannot have both. There's one girl in just went to MRSM. But she's, I don't know, aspiring tennis player herself, and you cannot have both. It's impossible if you are an MRSM, going for your education and want to pursue a so-called high-performing tennis career. So in Europe, a lot of the kids, they are in school, but they get taken out of school, travel here and there.
Yeah. Finally, I managed to get myself into the boarding school, but it's just 1 year, just to make sure that cycling still number one priority because it's near to my center, to my training center at Velodrome Cheras. So I think for my experience, it's good because I got both at this time, and also I managed to continue my study in uni because in Malaysia there's so like small amount of athlete wants to continue in formal education.
Yes.
So we need to raise the awareness for that part as well in Malaysia.
The thing about, it's a very good point. The awareness, the schools, this is just my opinion, the schools will never KPI. The KPI is SPM and exams. You cannot blame the schools. This is where again a bit of the conflict between sports activity in schools is all about academics. So if you are always missing school, because we had one of our current national player in tennis, Imran used to go, he's now SEA Games playing for the Malaysian team. When he was in sekolah rendah, he went to a sekolah kebangsaan, but because his tennis already at that age took him always out of the school, it doesn't work. And a lot of conflict between him and the teachers, so even they took him out of the school because you cannot always have it all, especially if it involves other parties who don't see, and it's not their priority to focus on your sports.
So teacher also play a big role in this situation, and and also what I experienced, my teacher, one of my teachers said that sport isn't a career. So we have to accept the fate, but at least you try to be on the top, and then if you did it, yes, you good.
I told Mikaela very, very simple. If her goal is to become what's your goal in tennis?
To be a WTA player.
Very, very simple. Her goal is to become a WTA player to play on the World Tennis Association World Tour. That's her goal. And that goal requires sacrifice.
Yes.
And it's not easy, and you cannot have it all in that journey, and you have to make choices that might not always benefit or be agreeable to everyone, but you have to make your own decisions, what you feel is best for your journey. If you make it, great. If you don't make it, you cannot blame others for what went wrong. You have to always, angkat tangan diri sendiri and learn from the mistakes that you make along the journey. But without risks, there are no rewards.
Yes, true. So you always have to take risks and believe yourself that you can achieve that goals. All right. Third keywords, everybody, is nurture. Okay, so we talk about this. First one, youth. Second, tennis. Third is nurture. So comment box, and then make sure you put it in correct order. All right, last question before closing. Kevin, if you could choose one sport to do professionally, what sport would it be?
Football for myself.
Yeah.
If I were to go back in time, football for sure. Height not really a factor. I think I would have made a really, really good footballer if I picked it up at a really young age in Germany and stuck with it. So if I were ever to go back in time, I would tell my brother, don't go to a table tennis academy, go to a football academy in Germany and stick to it for life. If for her, tennis, because height for girls is not really a factor so much like the men's tour. If men's tennis, if you're not 6'2", 6'3", or 6 foot, forget it. But for women's tennis, can. If you're 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", can.
Hopefully, I can start play tennis after this. How about you, Mikaela? Okay, you different question. Do you have you must have idols in your tennis sport, right? But I want to know the female version of your idol in tennis world and why.
My idol is Iga Swiatek because she's a very amazing player and she's also very young. And I hope when I'm older, if I make it to WTA, and if in next decade I can make.
Let's wish for the best, inshallah. Ameen. Okay, alright, guys, let's wrap it up. I hope today's episode has opened our eyes on nurturing and cultivating sport among the young, and how we can ensure that those with potential not only become athletes but also world champions representing our beloved Malaysia on the international stage. I am super happy, super grateful to have you guys in the studios today. Thank you for the
Thank you
eyes
so much.
opening.
Thank you.
I hope to see you guys again in the future. Maybe you can be my co-host. I really like her style with the smile, so beautiful. And thank you so much, everybody who's watching right now. So to all of you who's watching this, we'll be coming with more episode, and make sure you guys follow Sinar Daily for more updates. That's all for today. I'm Adila Jesem, for your host for Sport Matters Special Edition. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.